Welcome to Taking Stock with Lisa Brown. Today, I am thrilled to introduce Tara Ghei, founder and CEO of Atlanta startup Romp Tumble. Tara took the daring leap in June of 2020 in the very early stages of the pandemic, and when unemployment rates were skyrocketing, to make her dream of building a baby clothes rental service a reality. Now, this took years of planning, a supportive network, and a lot of guts. And prior to June of 2020, Tara spent over 15 years building a successful career inside corporate America, including stints at Ford, BlackRock, and WestRock in the areas of corporate finance and risk management. Welcome, Tara.
Thanks, Lisa. It's great to be here. I'm really excited to speak with you. I think it's a great topic, all of this.
Wonderful. Now, Tara, recently you shared this quote on social media that I just love, and I want to repeat it for our audience today. You said, "I am a believer that being uncomfortable and trying to go past boundaries you set for yourself often leads to growth in unexpected ways. Transitions, while exciting, can also be daunting, and it's important to recognize this and find people and programs to help you." Can you comment a little bit about what that quote means for you?
Yeah. So I think my entire life I've had this, and it could be just sort of how I was raised, but this growth mindset about once you master something, it's really important to move on and learn more and get out of your comfort zone. At the same time, I think we all live with fear, right? And so it's how do you embrace that growth and getting uncomfortable with also knowing and understanding that change is scary. And how do you create situations where you can continue to grow and create communities that support that? And that really is, frankly, especially over the past year and two, that has really resonated with me and stuck with me.
Yeah, I think to that point, you've got to have strength within yourself, but then there's strength in numbers when you surround yourself with the community people that support you and can help you keep going during those scary moments for sure. And as an entrepreneur, I'm sure you've had experiences of some of that scariness early on in your journey. And I thought it'd be good to start with talking about some of the early stages of your journey. What caused something inside of you to just want to shake things up and get uncomfortable and move from a really stable career in corporate America into entrepreneurship?
Yeah, I will also just say one thing before I do. I think that's a great question. We're still early and I'm still dealing, obviously, like everyone else, with growing uncomfortably every day. So I'm not sure that ever changes, whether it's early or even later in your journey. But, professionally, when it comes to getting uncomfortable, I've always been that person who's enjoyed professional experiences where the lines are gray. I used to love the ability to create and innovate in ways that weren't following, set procedures and those kinds of things. My favorite projects were always the ones when I was in corporate America that were like acquisitions, transformations, and all those one-off things that forced me to work, that not even forced me, but allowed me to work with others and move organizations to the next level. So the creativity and the getting uncomfortable and learning new skill sets is something that professionally I was always doing and found that was the work that I enjoyed the most. I knew probably about 2 years before I left that I was ready for a pretty big change. Only because I think, the more time you spend in corporate America, companies grow and there's this feeling of, you need automation, you need procedures, and I'm all for that. But for me, I wasn't getting as much professional satisfaction in working in environments where I didn't have a ton of creative freedom. And I realized that more than other people, I needed that. I think for me, the hardest thing in terms of when you talk about getting uncomfortable was creating a new definition of success for myself. I think for many years, it was always only about money and title, and that was it. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? I think money and title matter. And if you care about it, I think that's great. And while I still may be driven by that in part, I realized it wasn't everything. I started realizing the ability to create impact and change was equally as important. And that also was part of my definition of success. And so what I did about 2 years before I left was I found a coach who helped me think about what I wanted both personally and professionally. She's someone who works with high achieving, ambitious women, not only on their careers, but also helping them create the space to think about their priorities and think differently in their life. And so she was really key to helping me make that transition. The other thing that I did very intentionally was expose myself to different people and different communities in the places where I wanted to be. So, once I was working with my coach, I realized entrepreneurship really was something that I had for many years been attracted to. I wanted to explore more of. And so I did find communities and people more so than I had before that were entrepreneurs or were founders or who were working in early stage startups. And that helped me a lot. I got to ask a lot of questions. And then finally, honestly, COVID was a real driver. I think I saw my mindset was shifting, as many parents were and as consumers were. And I thought to myself, if I'm going to do it, I need to do it now. And I think all of that together kind of got me to the point where I was ready to make a change.
And so a couple points you made that I think are important to just reiterate. Your definition of success had evolved, and that's okay. That's logical for somebody who has been in corporate America for a period of time and may have had some great successes as you have, but looking to the future, your definition of success changed. And you worked with a professional coach to help you, explore and navigate a huge change that you were considering taking. So, you did your homework, you aligned yourself with experts and professionals, and then sought out, you kind of stuck your toe into the water a little bit and started seeking out feedback from the community that you would be serving. So I think those are all phenomenal points. And along that line, you can be totally ready to make this leap, and you've done your research and you talk to the right people. But as you and I both know, since we both have this finance background, that money and financial planning also has to be part of this equation to make this big leap out of corporate America. So what were some of the steps that you took to get your finances squared away before you took this leap? And then what are you doing now to help balance the personal finances while trying to grow your company?
Yeah, so I think that's a great question. I'm married. I have a husband who works in a demanding career as well. I have 2 kids, a 6-year-old and a 9-year-old. And over the years, I was in my corporate role a very significant contributor to our family finances. So, my leaving to start something, I knew that there would be a period of time when I wasn't going to be bringing in money the way I was before. And that was something that wasn't a decision I could just do on my own, right? It impacted my entire personal life. And so the first thing that my husband and I did was we sat down probably, as I was going through this time with my personal coach, we sat down to understand just sort of where we were financially. One of the interesting things is, when we got married, we had 2 separate bank accounts. We merged those bank accounts, but we've never had one bank account that we shared. We've always had 2 where we moved money back and forth. And, even if we look at, once I was married, we spent many years in separate cities, growing our careers. And so we had a lot of separate stuff, like a separate 401k, separate IRAs, separate things. And so we spent some time sitting down and just making sure that stuff that had happened very early on, we knew it, we understood it. We both had access and were both put on each of the accounts and those, where it needed to happen. So that was the first really important step. Then I I think the next piece was I knew that I was going to bootstrap this business, right? At least for a certain period of time. And so I was fortunate to have worked and saved money and used my bonuses and options that I could call my own and put that aside. And we both decided this is the amount that I said, this is the amount that I want to put towards my business. He said, I think that's great. And so we put that into one of those accounts I told you about. And that money sits there and is marked for my startup. I take that money and move it into my business account when I need to. I purposely do not put it all in my business account because once again, there's always a mentality of having X amount of money that you can use, and we're lean, and I'm trying to create a lean startup. And so I use systems to manage this back and forth. We use QuickBooks, and that is sort of how I managed it currently. But a lot of it was I knew that I needed to, it wasn't just me. It was my family. It was making sure that we all understood the implications. And then, frankly, as I think about it, we took little things out of our spending. So for example, we used to send our laundry out every week. That stopped, right? So little things that we used to do, we just decided were not as important as me being able to do what I really wanted to do. And we actively made those changes.
Yeah, and having that money set aside in advance, I imagine gives you some peace of mind from a timing standpoint. Say, I can take the steps I need to and I want to grow my business without having to worry that it takes off overnight. And I think that can really help lead to smart business growth and, more rational thinking as you are exploring the environment and hearing, the needs of the community and your customers. So I think that's an incredibly strong point that you shared about what you did. And I think our audience, should certainly abide by that advice as they're looking to go out on their own, possibly. So we've talked about, redefining your definition of success, hired a coach, you got a financial plan squared away, you did a lot of research in the community. What are some of the other important steps that you would recommend somebody take before they make their own leap out of corporate America and into entrepreneurial mode?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and one that is somewhat, I think needs to be asked more. So I think it's actually wonderful that we're talking about this. I think transition, and I've said it earlier, is so important. Lots of people have dreams. I mean, I had a dream. I think it's great to have these dreams, but I think we also have to understand that starting your own company is a lot of work. It's like more than a full-time corporate job. It's not, you're not just like sitting around, you're hustling and you're figuring it out. And, it is a lot. So, my advice is that if you can, I think it's great to try to start something start the ideas of something while you are working in your corporate job. Whether it's a side hustle or at least some discovery work. One of the things I did was while I was working still, and I came up with my idea for Romp Tumble, I did discovery calls, I did focus groups, I did all of that on the weekend to really validate my idea before I took the leap. It was just helpful for me to be able to test and say, is there a market for this? Or is there a potential market for this, right? It might sound great in your head until you start talking to people. And so that was really important. And I think for me mentally also, the fact that I stopped working my corporate job on a Friday and then had meetings set up that following Monday with Romp Tumble was something that I needed to manage the early stage of the transition. Because, for me, the mental shift was the biggest one that I needed to overcome. And so, especially as a solo founder, if you're doing it on your own, I think it's so important to at least acknowledge that this is a very different kind of journey you're going to be on. And so, I think it's important to find other founders and mentors that can be sounding boards, both in terms of business, but then also when you're riding those highs and lows, because they keep you in check. And, they remind you that you're playing a long game. And so what I would say is that I think it's great to have a dream and great to have an idea, but if you can plan it methodically in a way And a lot of this is self-realization and self-discovery before you even go into an idea. I think that is key.
So I love the comment about, this being the long game. And I think that's important to, have that mentality of, how long am I, going to try this and give it a go? And, 3 months is typically not long enough, right? So this is running a marathon and not a sprint. So you've shared with us kind of the background of how you got to, the idea of starting the company, the research and homework you did. Share with us now your vision for Romp and Tumble. Where do you want to take it? How are you going to get there? And most importantly, what do you need from others to help you achieve these goals?
Yeah, so just a little background. So with Romp and Tumble, we curate and rent bundles of baby and toddler clothes. We're helping parents continue to clothe their babies in cute, eco-friendly clothes, but eliminate the work around storing, organizing, and getting the clothes out of their home sustainably. And our model makes it really easy for parents to rent these clothes and then exchange them when their kids outgrow or want new styles. I started the company with sustainability top of mind. 85% of the textiles that we all consume end up in landfills. And so that's a lot. And baby clothes contribute a significant portion to this. Babies grow in the first 2 years of life, 8 clothing sizes. So we're really committed to creating meaningful change within our model. And we know we can't do it alone. I see Romp and Tumble as a huge disruptor in the baby market. And we really feel that by partnering with the right small businesses and boutiques, we can really create, and obviously brands, we can really create some meaningful change within sustainability, within the baby space. And so first off, we know we can't do it alone. I would love if people would spread the word. If you're a parent of a baby or a toddler, please check us out at rompandtumble.com. We also do gift cards. And then partnerships are also key to our growth. So, there are all sorts of small baby and kid brands that are doing great things to minimize their environmental impact. And we're actually interested in seeing how we can use our model long-term to work with them. We also have, we've also seen working moms are very much at the top of mind as we created this. Most of our customers are busy working mothers and working parents. And so we're also trying to find great ways to see if we can educate and share not only our model, but other great companies that are trying to give parents time and space back in their lives. Because in the end, that's really what we're focused on.
Yeah, so busy working parents, the eco-friendly, positive environmental impact, absolutely key demographic for your company. Anyone else who absolutely needs to go check out Romp and Tumble?
Yeah, I mean, if you're a grandparent, we are great grandparent gifts. We do baby shower gifts. We're also, we can be there in places where you're trying to create more impact in people's lives. Because if you think about it, we've created a model that makes it easy on parents. So if you have a really busy family that you know of that just had a baby, we make it easy for them to clothe their baby.
I don't know of anything that can be a better gift to a new parent than making anything that can make life easier, right? And so if you can do it in the eco-friendly way, I mean, what a phenomenal partnership and opportunity for your product and to benefit your community. So Tara, I want to just thank you so much for joining me today, sharing your story. And it's entered a really exciting phase for you. And I personally cannot wait to watch as you grow, as Romp and Tumble grows and you serve more families. For our audience who would like more information about Romp and Tumble, you can visit their website, which is www.rompandtumble.com. You can follow Tara on LinkedIn and watch her exciting accomplishments continue. Thank you so much for joining us today, and be well.
Thank you, Lisa.